In the movie business, what they do is they spend, I just read this, they'll spend $50 million producing a movie and $50 million advertising to get people into the theaters the first week. Now what happens is that they can't spend $50 million for several weeks. So they've got to get people into the theaters so that people watch the movie and begin to tell their friends. And it's only when a movie gets legs, they call it gets legs, that people start to tell their friends, you've got to see that movie, that the movie starts to become successful. Why? Because it's reputation. Everything is reputation. Now, in your life and my life, your reputation is everything. Your character, your integrity is the most important thing you have. And one of the decisions that you make is you never compromise your integrity. You never say anything that's not true, and you never do anything that's not correct. No matter what the financial temptation, you're adamant you're not going to compromise your integrity. Now here's the wonderful thing. In psychology, they say that your level of self-esteem, how much you like yourself and respect yourself, is largely determined by your self-image. And if your self-image is that of a person of character, every single time you behave with character, you do what is the right thing, you like yourself more, and you respect yourself more, and you feel happy inside. And you feel strong, you feel powerful, you have a strong handshake. Your self-confidence actually goes up. You have greater confidence when you're living in truth with yourself and others than anything else. So there's a real payoff. If ever you sacrifice your integrity for a short-term payoff, you lose two things. First of all, you never get the thing you sold your soul for. Look at Bernie Madoff and those people. He's got a 150-year prison sentence. That's not good. And the other thing is, it destroys your self-esteem. You don't like yourself very much. And the most important thing you can do is like yourself. So, character. Now, number 6 is good work habits. Good work habits. Now, all of these fall together, but in terms of increasing your probability of success, the fact that you work well and work hard and get a lot done, nothing can replace that. That means that you manage your time and you set priorities and you concentrate on your highest value tasks and you start earlier, you work harder, and you stay later. There's no replacement for that. The great problem with the bottom 80% of people, not just in America but worldwide, is that they're lazy, lazier, and bone lazy. One of the biggest problems we have in our society is lazy people are going to politicians who say, look, give me your vote and I'll take the money away from the hard workers and give it to the people who aren't working at all. And there's an old rule that whoever promises to rob Peter to pay Paul is always going to have the support of Paul. And that is modern economics today. It's, Bob, you elect me and I'll rob Peter and give the money to you. And so good work habits, hard workers, one of the very best reputations you can develop. Everybody in every business has to know sort of hard work. Number 7 is image. Now this is really important. It means you look good on the outside. It's not a complicated thing, but human beings are extremely visual. And many people are hired for a job, or they get the sale, or they get the opportunity to look good, just because they've taken the time to train themselves out well. Now in the last few years, there's been a slide toward dressing like a bum, looking like a bum, looking unkempt, looking like you fell off a watermelon truck and got run over by a car. And so people think it's cool. It's cool to look crummy. No, it's cool to look crummy as long as you have no hopes for the future. Because people who are successful look successful. I've spoken to 5 million people now, and in every audience worldwide, when people come up and talk to me, I know who's successful. I say, I bet you're doing really well. How do you know? You look like it. Successful people look like it. They look like they're doing well because they've taken the time. Women are much better at this than men. Men have this idea that it's okay to dress like a bomb and nobody will mind. Well, it's not. Because here's why. Is the way that we dress is a way of telling people who we are. This is who I am. This is the package, okay? The package. So, if you dress like a bum, what you're saying is this is who I am. I'm a bum. If you want to entrust me with your money, then you deserve everything you're going to get, and it's not going to be much. So therefore, because you are in complete control of your dress and grooming, how you dress and groom is a statement to the world about the person you are inside. And there's a rule that says if it doesn't help, it hurts. Everything counts. So it's just a matter of look at the most successful people in your business or industry and look at how they turn themselves in. And then just do the same thing. Just pattern yourself after the most successful people, especially if you're talking to clients and really important. By the way, the interesting thing, let's say you're working on the internet, and you know, you're just on the internet and say, well, nobody can see me. Okay? Do you know that if you get up in the morning and you dress properly, I'm not saying you wear a tuxedo or a formal dress, but you get up in the morning and you dress properly, exactly as if you're going to an important business appointment. People can hear it in your voice when you talk to them on the phone. It actually comes through in the communication because there's something sort of electrical about the fact that the BBC is very famous for its BBC broadcasters. They speak perfectly correct, high-level English. BBC broadcasters are required to dress in evening tuxedos in order to read the news on the radio. And yes, and they've done this for decades. And people listening to the BBC, one of the most respected news broadcasting organizations, feel that the person reading the news on the radio is dressed up. Just anything. Number 8 is creativity. And creativity, we find there's a direct relationship between how creative you are and how successful you are. By the way, going back to image, one person that you meet at one time who you make a positive impression on can change the rest of your life. It can change your whole career. It can open a door for you to transform your career. But the rule is you can't afford to close that door just because. With regard to creativity, there's a direct relationship between the number of ideas that you come up with to improve your life and how successful you'll be. So successful people are always looking for different things, for different ideas. How can we do it better, faster, cheaper, more conveniently? How can we help our customers, and so on? So they're constantly looking for better ways. And there's a relationship between the quantity of ideas determines the quality. You know that 99% of business ideas don't work? You know that? It's a real shock. Anybody here know what I'm talking about? Try this, try that, try this, try that, try this, try that, and nothing seems to work. And then you start to think, well, there's something wrong with me. Maybe there's something wrong with my product or service. No, you just have to try a lot of things. And eventually, if you do it right, you eventually find the way that it works. But you have to have lots and lots of ideas. Number 9 is a positive mental attitude. Obviously, a positive mental attitude means that you are a generally positive person. You're cheerful. You know what the number 1 word used to describe the most successful people in sales or business? Number 1 word, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a store, whether it's a salesperson, a business owner. You know what the number 1 word rhymes with spice and rice? Nice. He or she's a nice person. Why do you go to that place? Well, they're nice people. Why do you go to buy from that? Well, they're nice people. What percentage of people's decision making is emotional? What part is rational? It's 100% emotional. Human beings are 100% emotional, and they're inordinately affected by the way they're treated by other people. People are like moths to a flame. People are attracted to positive people. People who are friendly, people who are cheerful. One of the most important things you can do is never criticize. Never criticize. Look for the good in every situation, but never criticize other people. Never criticize your competitors. Never criticize anybody. You know, what's that song from Texas, whenever is heard a discouraging word? Frank Sinatra used to say, if you can't say something nice, don't speak at all. It's my advice. And so just, if all you do is you make a resolution, just never really say anything negative about anybody. Even if your prospective customer hates your competition and you hate your competition, never say anything. It's so easy to slip into complaining and criticizing and whining and moaning. Always be cheerful. Even if your whole life is going to hell in a handbasket, be smiling. People like to deal with people who are mature and who are positive. And sometimes just the fact that you're a nice person can give you an edge if the differences between your products and your competitors' products are very small. Just bending over backwards to be nice. And then I'll give you number 10. The reason I do this is because I have to be in the North County at 3:30. And it's half an hour. Number 10 is luck. Now I said that luck didn't count. And the answer is luck doesn't. But what happens is that if you're constantly gaining knowledge and learning all kinds of things that can help you, if you're developing your skills and getting better and better, if you increase the number of contacts you have, if you have money in the bank so you can take advantage of opportunities, if you have the kind of character that causes people to admire and respect you and open doors for you, if you have good work habits so you get a lot done in a short period of time, if you have a great image so that people admire and respect you, if you're coming up with ideas all the time and you're a cheerful person, you're going to have what is called luck. And people are going to say, geez, you sure are lucky. That's what happens. Whenever a person is successful, they say, boy, you sure are lucky. Well, they didn't realize that luck was simply a matter of hundreds of little things. All great successes are the result of hundreds of little efforts that nobody ever sees or appreciates. What they do is they just keep their useless. So I wanted to leave you with three key points. Point number one is that today we have a need for speed. We've got to move fast. Because there's no time at all for people who just coast. There's only one direction in which you can coast, and that's downhill. So if you get a good idea from Brendan, move quickly, move fast, try it out. Know that it won't work in most cases, but try it out, try something else, try something else, and try something else. Is collect rejections and collect failures. See how many times you can fail on the road to success. Recognizing that you are a learning organism. And just like it's called the cybernetic organism, every time you do something, you get feedback, which makes you smarter, and it gives you ideas. And you try something, you get feedback, which makes you smarter. So you keep failing in a forward direction. And even though it's at an unconscious level, you're getting better and better and smarter and quicker the more you fail. All right? The second point is that the three most important words that will determine your financial well-being for the rest of your life are the words competition, competition, and competition. Admire your very best competitors. Always look for ways to do them one better. But remember that competition is so incredible that if you have something that works tomorrow, your competition will copy it. They'll steal it and they'll try to do it one better. So we can never rest. We're in a contest where like a treadmill and the treadmill's going faster, because you can never rest because your competition is as determined to get your customers as you. And the last thing I wanted to leave you with is a little bit of an aside. It has to do with what I call the number. Now this is really important, so I try to teach this to all my clients, is that in your business life, let's just say in business life, there is one number that more than any other number makes your success rate. There are dozens of numbers. I've calculated about 40 different numbers you can have in business, from number of sales to size of sales to frequency of sales to return on income and investment and so on. I don't know what it is for you, but every person has a number. That one number is the most important number in their business. Some people say, well, it's the number of sales. If it is, it may be that. But maybe it's not the number of sales. Do you know how restaurants calculate? It's the number of dinners that they serve. It's not the size of the dinner or what they have or what they eat or anything else. The averages work out. It's the number of sales. That's what they call it. Every number. You have 276 settings on Saturday night. That's the number for them. They're always focused on how they can increase the number of settings. And you must be clear about your number. Because if you're not clear about your number, it's like driving across country with no map and taking the wrong road and working on a different number. One company that I was working with, their number was number of customers. That was what they were focused on, get more customers. And then we went in and we looked at all their customers, their sales for the last 3 years. We found that 90% of their sales, they had 10,000 customers, 90% of their sales came from 116 customers. And the whole company was working on satisfying, servicing, mailing, emailing, contacting this huge customer base. 116 accounted for 90% of their revenues. And it just shocked them. And then they realized it was not number of customers. What was it? The size of customer. So what they did is they took their top customers and they analyzed them in depth, and they went back and they redoubled their efforts in customer service to those customers, and then they looked at what other companies and organizations have the same characteristics of the people who are buying 90% of our products. And they went to work on that and they built a $100 million business. They went from $10 million to $100 million by focusing on size of customer and getting more customers who had the capacity. So I just passed that on to you. What is your number? And I don't have an answer for you, but you need to think about it. Is it number of sales, size of sales, cost of acquisition, profit per sale, frequency of purchase? What's your number? And whatever that number is, put everything aside and like a laser beam, like a Star Wars, focus in on improving that number. And that alone will transform your life. If you have all of these things together and dramatically increase the probability of success and then focus on that one number, well, you're all going to be rich and fat, rich, thin, famous, and happy. Thank you very much. God bless you. I'm Brian Tracy, and I just want to say that Brendan Burchard is one of the smartest, nicest, most creative marketers that I've ever met. His ideas are so amazing. My staff and I sit there listening to him talk, taking notes, and we're just astonished. If you get a chance to be exposed to Brendan, be exposed to his ideas and how he can help you in your business, just run, don't walk. And I'm going to be speaking at Brandon's Expert Academy. So what I'll be talking about is how I went literally from rags to riches, going through the process of speaking, writing, training, creating audio, video, building a worldwide internet business, and speaking to 5 million people. And I'll show exactly the steps and missteps that I made on the way that enabled me to get to this point in my career. And I'll be sharing ideas that you can use to dramatically increase your results as well. Hello, let me tell you a story. Every morning in the Serengeti plains of Africa, a lion awakes. And that lion knows that it has to run faster than the slowest antelope that day if it wants to eat. And every morning in the Serengeti plains, an antelope awakes. And that antelope knows that it has to run faster than the slowest lion if it wants to escape. So, whether you are a lion or an antelope, when the sun comes up, you'd better be running. I want to talk to you now about analyzing your competition, and here's the rule. To succeed in business, you must be able to position and sell your product or service against your competitors. All of business is competition from the time you get up in the morning to the time you go to bed at night. And your ability to clearly define your competitors and then produce and sell your product or service against them is the key to business success. So you start off by analyzing your competition. You almost look upon business like a war and you analyze your enemy. Who is the enemy? You must be continually seeking ways to be smarter, better, and faster than your competition because your competitors are continually looking for ways to put you out of business as quickly as they possibly can by taking away your customers, taking away your cash flow, and taking away your profits. And if you're not thinking the same things, then you become a victim of competitive strength and competitive advantage. Well, here's the reason why there's so much competition. It's because customers want the very most for the very least amount of money. Customers are greedy, they're lazy, they're ambitious, they're selfish, they're disloyal. They want the very, very most product or service for the very least amount of money, and they will buy in an instant from the person who they perceive offers that to them. You must be continually thinking of how you can be the person in the customer's mind who offers them more of what they want at that moment.
Our allies' town needs help.
To succeed, you must develop and maintain a competitive advantage. In other words, you must determine what makes your product or service superior. You must decide upon your area of excellence. What we know is that customers always buy what they perceive to be the very best choice under the existing circumstances. Your job must be to position your product or service and show them that it is superior in some critical way that should cause your customer to buy from you rather than from someone else. Especially, you must be absolutely clear about your unique selling proposition. Now, the unique selling proposition is one of the most important concepts in all of marketing. It is something that only your business does, or only you do, that no one else does, that is of value to your customer. The word unique means only one in the whole world. So what is it that your company has? What is it that your products or services offer that make you unique? I'll give you a simple example. The great proliferation of 7-Eleven stores, convenience stores worldwide is based on convenience. Only one convenience store can be at that location serving the people in that market area. What makes the convenience store unique is its location. Sometimes it's the product offering. Sometimes it's the people who sell. In real estate, for example, in life insurance, the products are available everywhere. What makes the unique selling proposition is the individual who's actually selling it, because there's only that person in the whole world. This can be a great way of your business developing a unique selling proposition because of your people. Entrepreneurship is an unending struggle and competition with other concerns, other businesses, to win customers. And that is to win customers. That means you have to attract customers. You have to lure customers. You have to become more desirable to customers. The only way you get customers is almost like courting them in every way possible. So to succeed, you have to be determined to be the best in your market. Now this is an important point, and Peter Drucker points it out. He says, even if you are starting your business on a kitchen table, if your goal is not someday to be the best in your business, you will never succeed, because you will set your standards too low to be able to overcome competition in your market. Set a goal to be either number one or number two in what you do. Now, can you achieve it in a week, a month, a year? Who knows? It may take you several years. Most companies take 5 to 8 years before they hit their stride from a new startup. But Jack Welch transformed General Electric by saying that we will be either number one or number two in every one of our businesses, or we will get out of the business. And that should be your job as well. And then the next question you ask is how? What would we have to do to be the best in our business? Continue to look for ways to improve your product or service offerings. There is a concept called Kaizen, which comes from Japan, which means continuous betterment. There's another concept which comes from that. It's called Kanai, which means continuous and never-ending improvement. Continuous and never-ending improvement. Every day you should be looking at ways to make your product or service or business better than it was the day before. Now, just like in warfare, your choice of your enemy is going to determine your strategy. In business, your choice of the companies you're going to compete against determines your strategy as well. If you determine you're going to compete against smaller companies, then you have to do certain things in a certain way. If you determine you're going to compete against the industry giants, then you have to offer products and services very differently from if you're going to compete against small companies. So, you've got to define your choice of competitors. Who are you competing against? Now, who is your competitor? Your competitor is anyone who sells a similar product or service to you. In other words, if the customer has a choice, buying from you or buying from someone else, that person is your competitor. Second of all, your competitor is any alternate use of the same money that your product costs. Give an example. Let's say you're in the restaurant business. You could say that your competitor is every other restaurant. No, maybe your competitor is buying the food or making food at home and not going out at all. I did some work recently with one of the major cruise lines, and I asked them who is their competitor. What other cruise lines do they compete against? What they told me is that they don't compete against cruise lines because the cruise business is growing. They compete against what they call land-based vacations, where people go to resorts or Hawaii or the Bahamas or somewhere else. They compete against all vacations on land as opposed to vacations at sea. That's their competitor. The competitor is an alternate use of the same money that your product costs. Now, another competitor may be the fact that your customer does not even know that your product or service is available. Sometimes we say your major competitor is just ignorance, because people don't know that your product or service is available and that it can do certain things for your prospective customer. They don't know that it's there. So sometimes your major job is to advertise, to promote, to sell, to get the knowledge of your product out there. I'll give you a great example. There was a gentleman who worked for years and years and years to develop a light bulb that lasted for $50,000. And he tried to sell it over and over again. It cost 2 or 3 times as much as a normal light bulb. Finally, when he was just about ready to quit, he was invited onto a television show. And on the television show, he talked about the light bulb. And a major national company that managed office buildings saw it and realized this would be the perfect light bulb for hard-to-get-at places within their stairwells and fire escapes. They bought 50,000 light bulbs from him and made him a millionaire overnight. He finally got the information out. How could you get information about the special qualities of your products or services to more people who could buy from you? This is a critical question, and ignorance could be your biggest competitor. Well, your customer always has 3 choices in any market. Number 1, your customer can buy from you. Number 2, the customer can buy from your competitor. And number 3, your customer can decide not to buy from either of you and do something else with the money. This is what you're focused on all the time, is to get them not to buy from your competitor and not to spend the money somewhere else, but to buy it from you. And to do that, you have to convince them that you are the very best choice. So start off and make a list of all the competitors that can take business or sales away from you. Sometimes we encourage people to make up what is called a competitive grid, where they list all of their competitors down one side and all the features and benefits that competitors offer down the other, and then they put in X's to determine what it is that their competitors offer that they don't, and what is it that they offer that their competitors don't. Now you have to ask these questions. Why do your customers buy from your competitors? One of the things I would do when I started off in selling, if I found that my prospects were buying from my competitors, I would ask them, why specifically did you decide to buy from them? Sometimes I'll tell my sales professionals is call up a person who bought from your competitor and say, tell me, what was the final element that caused you to buy from my competitor? And they'll tell you. And sometimes if you can find out what it is, you can find out a way to counteract that perceived strength. Next question is, what benefits or advantages does your customer perceive that he or she gets in buying from your competitor rather than buying from you? In other words, what do they feel they're getting? Remember, customers are predominantly emotional, because they buy a feeling or an emotion. And when you ask them, why do you feel our competitor is better than we are, they'll almost instantly tell you. And once you know that, you know what you have to beat. You know where you have to develop superiority. Another question is, in what ways is your competitor superior to you? And here's an important point. Never ever dismiss or criticize or say anything bad about your competitors. Why? Instead, you should admire your competitors, because if you admire them and look at what they are doing that is superior to you, the way they sell it, the way they deliver it, the way they service it, what that will do is it will give you rare insights into what you have to do to be superior to them in the future. So never criticize your competitors, never dismiss your competitors. Always look at what they're doing well and see how you can either emulate it or copy it, or even beat it, or go one step beyond them in the future. Ask yourself, what are the major strengths of your competition? Sometimes the major strength is they've just been around longer than you have. Sometimes they have a great service reputation. I'll give you an example. One day, we sat down to buy new computers for our entire business. And we finally made the choice. It cost us $150,000. And we made the choice to go with one company rather than another, because the major strength of that company was after-sales service. The first company had the same quality of products, but since computers always end up having problems, we had to go with a company that would service them quickly if there was a problem. So what are the major strengths of your competitors, and how could you compensate for those strengths? Finally, what are the major weaknesses or vulnerabilities of your competitor, and how could you take advantage of those weaknesses? I can tell you this, when we bought the computers, the people who wanted us to buy computers from them pointed out all the problems in after-sales service, which was a major vulnerability of the other company. And as a result, we switched the order to the company that could take better care of us after we bought it. Now here's an important point. Choose your competitor carefully. Choose your competitor carefully, because that determines the entire strategy in business. And let's say you're starting off in business, or you have a medium-sized business. Your competitor is not the Fortune 500 giant. You're not competing against those companies. You're competing with other companies in your same band of sort of size, product range, prices, methods of doing business. You only have to win within your band. You don't have to compete against the biggest in the world. You just have to be the best within that particular band. Very important. So, question, what do you have to do to win customers away from your competitors? Since customers are disloyal, what do you have to offer them to get them to buy from you rather than from someone else. This is very important. Sometimes it only takes one thing that you can offer that your competitors can't to cause your customer to come to you and then to stay with you. Question: what must your customer be convinced of to buy from you? What must the customer be absolutely convinced they will get if they buy from you rather than from someone else? Another question is, why should your customer switch from you or from your competitor to buy from you? This is one of the hardest things in business, by the way, is getting a customer to switch because of what is called the comfort zone. Sometimes people get into a habit of buying from a particular company and they become relaxed. They know where it is. They've dealt with them before. And even if you offer a better product or service or a better price, they will still stay with the old company unless you can give them a real good reason to switch. Many companies, by the way, will offer to buy out the previous contract, pay off all the rent if you switch to a new building, take your car or piece of equipment as a trade-in. They'll make it very easy for the customer to switch to them. Now, what value does your customer seek that you offer better than your competitors? Remember, in customer psychology, it only has to be one key value that you offer that's better than your competitors that will cause them to come to you. Many times, by the way, your customers don't know that you offer this key value. So you have to find out. And a very good question is, what would have to happen for you to buy from someone else? What would you have to get from someone else, including ourselves, that you're not getting from your current supplier that would cause you to switch? And sometimes they say, well, if you could do this or you could do that, and they will tell you what you need to convince them of. And if you can get the same. And finally, where is your competitor most vulnerable? Remember, great wars, great battles are not necessarily won by attacking the enemy's strengths, but by attacking the enemy's vulnerabilities. Where is your competitor most vulnerable, and how could you take advantage of that? To develop competitive advantage, your product or service must be better in at least 3 ways. People say, well, I have to have one thing. No, you have to have 3 ways in order to get into the market. And here's some of the ways that your product or service could be superior. Number 1, your product or service could sell at a lower cost with the same level of quality. Or 2, your product could be of higher quality at the same level of price. Or 3, your product could offer additional features and benefits that are very important to the customer that your competitors don't have. Or 4, your product could be easier to buy and to use. Customers are very big into convenience. Many companies have transformed their industries by just making it very easy to buy from and making the product or service very easy to use. Apple Computer is a perfect example. It has always been easier and more fun to use than any other computer. And that's why they've managed to sell more than $1 billion worth of Apple Computer. Now, another way that you could be better is your product must be easier to deliver and you must be easier to service your product. You must be able to do it faster. So, for example, Federal Express delivers very quickly. UPS develops very quickly. Some companies have same-day service. Some companies, when you have a need, will be there within 2 hours. That will cause people to buy from them rather than someone who gets there later on. Your product might have better guarantees and warranties. Sometimes a company that offers a sweeping guarantee will take enormous business away from companies that don't. Do you remember in the car wars when Audi came out and offered bumper-to-bumper service, guarantee, warranty for 5 years and just literally swept the market? When companies were coming out and offering 8-year warranties, when before their warranties were 2 months. And you can offer superior service after the sale. In fact, one of the very best competitive advantages today is to be able to serve your customers in a superior way. So the word goes out that when you buy from these people, they take wonderful care of you afterwards. Now, you have to be absolutely clear about the competitive advantages that you will have to develop to succeed. You see, it's hard to get a customer to switch from someone else to buying from you. And you have to determine how much it will cost for you to develop a product and enter a new market. You have to determine how much it's going to cost for you to develop competitive advantage And the rule is it takes 2 to 4 years for you to bring a new product or service into an existing market, because it's so hard to get people to switch over time. You have to determine how long it will take for you to become successful selling against your competitors. Interesting point. In Jim Collins' book, Good to Great, several of the companies in there looked at their existing market and realized that because of the nature of the competition, they could not do great in that market. So they switched to a whole new market where they became one of the greatest companies in the industry. Sometimes companies have to actually switch their product or service offerings, their competitors, their markets, their customers, in order to become excellent, because they simply cannot invest the amount of time and money it takes to be superior to their existing competition. You have to consider the possibility always of entering a different market where there is less competition for your product. Now, your goal is to develop a product or service that is excellent in one or more ways. If your product or service were the best in the business, what would people say about it? Remember, you could only win in competition if people perceive your product or service to be the best. If your product were the best, in what way would it be the best? And what words would people use to describe it? What would you have to include in your product or service to get people to say that you're the best in the business? What would you have to add to your product or service? How would you have to upgrade the quality, ease of use, the service, the reliability for people to say that you're the best? Answering this question is the key to analyzing your competition and achieving competitive advantage. Finally, continually look for ways to lower your price, to offer something different, or to sell your product or service in a different market. Remember, the keys to success in business are marketing and innovation. And innovation is always looking for faster, better, cheaper, easier, more effective ways to position against competition. Continually seek for weaknesses or vulnerabilities in the products and services of your competitors. To win the business wars, you must be continually looking for ways to develop strengths and areas of superiority in the products and services that you offer. Remember, your ability to sell effectively in competitive markets is the key to success as an entrepreneur or as a business person of any size.
Our allies' town needs help. Our warriors have engaged.
Sometimes when I speak to my business audiences, I ask the question, what is the purpose of a business? And almost invariably people shout back, to make a profit, to make money, to make a lot of money, to get rich. Well, that's not quite correct. The purpose of a business is actually to create and keep a customer. And if you look at a business, if you look inside it, you'll find that all successful businesses are focused on creating and keeping customers, marketing and sales, getting the customers, and then servicing the customers and holding on to them. A profit is the result of creating and keeping a customer in a cost-effective way. Therefore, the basic management functions are innovation and marketing, because only they are capable of creating and keeping customers, generating sales, revenues, and cash flow. The most important skill of the entrepreneur or the business person is the ability to market the product or service. An average product or service, intelligently and aggressively marketed, will run circles around a brilliant product or service with poor marketing behind it. Unfortunately, most entrepreneurs and business people have never been trained in marketing. But fortunately, marketing skills can be learned, and that's what we'll talk about in the next few minutes. Now, the key to marketing the product is this. Marketing is the process of determining what is to be produced and sold. It requires analysis of the market, analysis of the competition, analysis of trends, customer service surveys, customer questionnaires, and so on to find out what it is that people really want and will buy. On the other hand, selling is the process of determining how the product or service is to be sold once it has been determined by the marketing department. So the marketing department determines what, and the selling process determines how it's to be sold. Now, the key question in marketing is this, and I came to this after many, many years. I put it all together in a single paragraph. And here it is. What exactly is to be sold, and to whom is it going to be sold? Those are the first two questions. What is the product, and who is the customer? The third part of it is, and by whom is it going to be sold? In other words, who's going to actually do the selling and get the money? And the next part of the question is, how is it going to be bought and paid for? In other words, what is the sales process? And how is the product or service going to be produced, delivered, and serviced? So let me repeat that one more time. This is the key question, and it's this, is what exactly is to be sold, and to whom is it going to be sold, and by whom is it going to be sold, and how is it going to be sold and paid for, and how is the product or service going to be produced, delivered, and serviced? You have to ask these questions over and over again, because our discovery is this: inaccurate answers to any one of these questions can lead to business failure. For example, you could have the question wrong: who is going to sell it? If you don't know who is going to sell it, or how is it going to be sold, or how is it going to be produced or delivered, or exactly to whom is it going to be sold and at what price? If you don't have the exact correct answers to these, what happens is you'll go off on the wrong track, and you can often lead to the failure of the business. But if all these questions are answered correctly, and they need to be revisited over and over again, you can make a very successful business. Well, here's a rule. The product or service must be well suited to the current market. It must be priced appropriately and aggressively marketed and sold. Let me repeat that. The product or service must be well suited to the current market. How can you tell? Because people want it and are buying it. It must be priced appropriately relative to competition and relative to what you've got contained in the product or service, and it must be aggressively marketed and sold. You have to always be thinking of ways to get more of your product or service to your customers in a competitive market. First rule of marketing is that the customer is always right. The second rule, by the way, is when in doubt, refer back to the first rule. In our marketplace, the customer is everything. The customer is the central focus of all marketing efforts, all business efforts. You can always tell a good company because they are obsessed with customer service. They think about their customers, talk about their customers, discuss their customers. They think about their customers all the time. Well, unsuccessful products that are not selling must be either improved or removed from the market. Now remember this, 80% of all the products and services that will be in use 5 years from now have not been invented. 80% of the products in common use today will no longer be in the market 5 years from now. Companies spend fortunes to bring products and services to the market, but what happens is about 80% of them fail every year. So if a product is not working, you either have to improve it, revise it, reorganize it, or remove it from the market and sell something else. Remember, it is not what a company produces, but what customers want that determines marketing demand. It's not from the inside. As Peter Drucker says, there are no profits inside a business. All profits come from creating and keeping customers and satisfying those customers so that they buy more and talk to their friends about what you sell. Now, a new product or service must be better in at least 3 ways to break into the market. First of all, the product must be clearly superior in some way. The product has to be better than any other product out there in some way. For example, the product can be cheaper, the same level of quality at a lower price. This is one of the reasons why products from Asia are becoming so popular. They're as high a quality as anything else that has been offered, especially from Europe or other manufacturers, but they're much cheaper because of the cost of production and labor. Or the product can be easier to use. Making a product so it's much easier to use, much more convenient, can make it more valuable and help you break into the market. The product can be more convenient to buy. By making the product easier to acquire, you can make your product attractive enough to break into the market. For For example, making your product available for like Amazon, perfect example. If you want to buy a book, you can go to Amazon. It's delivered to your house in 3 days. You never have to leave your home. You can see a mention of a book or hear about a book. You can buy it with 2 clicks, which is a critical thing. Click onto Amazon and 1-click buying. So they made it so easy to buy millions of products that they've been able to create $1 billion business. Another way is the product can be more attractive. It could just be more beautiful to use. Luggage, cosmetics, fashion, cars, home, furniture. Just if it's more beautiful to use, that can help you to break into the market. The product can offer additional features or benefits. For instance, a very simple camera can be upgraded and improved. So now you can get a digital camera that can shoot movies, that can take photographs, that can send them and put them onto the internet. You could get cell phones that can do remarkable things. With these additional features and benefits, they sell tens of billions of dollars worth each year in a market that did not even exist a few years ago. Another example is the product can be at a higher quality at the same price. Many manufacturers are finding ways to build quality into their products, keeping the price the same, but selling vastly more of the product because people will pay more or buy more often a product or service that is higher quality. The product can't satisfy the customer's deepest needs better. It can satisfy their emotional needs. So you have to look at all the different ways, and you must find at least 3 ways that your product or service is superior if you want to break into a competitive market. Now, there are 4 keys to strategic marketing. These have not changed in all of history, and you need to keep coming back to them over and over again. The first is specialization. In specialization, the company specializes in providing a clear benefit to a particular customer. Only huge companies can offer a lot of different products and services. But companies, small and medium-sized companies, have to specialize. They have to specialize so that when people think about your company, they think about your area of specialization. I'll give you an example. There are some restaurant chains that specialize in steak. When you think of their name, you think of steak. Some specialize in seafood. When you think of the name of that restaurant, you think about seafood. It doesn't mean that they don't offer other dishes, but they specialize in a particular highly popular dish. Now, there's several ways you can specialize. You can specialize in a particular market. For example, you can specialize in the California market. You can specialize in the homeowners market. You can specialize in the doctor's market. I had a very good client once that specialized in law offices. All they did was sell to law offices, and they eventually built the largest company in the country, a $1 billion business, selling products and services just to law offices. A second way that you can specialize is you can specialize providing a particular benefit. Many insurance companies do this. HMOs do this. It can be a medical service of some kind, but it's a specific benefit that you specialize in, and that's all that you do. And you don't digress from your area of specialization. Sometimes your company can specialize in providing a particular service. For example, there are companies that do carpet cleaning, window cleaning, drape cleaning. They specialize just in that service, and they concentrate on getting better and better in a specific area. Some companies specialize in cleaning and detailing cars. Other companies specialize in interior renovations. But they don't try to be all things to all people. They specialize in a particular service. Another area that you can specialize in is in a particular technology. Microsoft, for example, specializes in personal computer technology. Intel specializes in chips and technology. So you can specialize in a particular technology, and that determines your whole business. Sometimes the company can specialize in servicing a specific type of customer. Some people service teenagers and focus on teenagers. Some focus on senior citizens. Some focus on doctors. Some focus on lawyers. So you can take a specific type of customer and specialize in that customer. And finally, you can specialize in a particular location or area. Many companies will decide to specialize just in a small community. They will focus just on becoming the very best known for their specialty in that particular location or area. What are your areas of specialization? how would your customers and colleagues describe you in terms of what area do you specialize in your business? Now, the second part of marketing, which is my favorite part, is differentiation. There's a book by Reese and Trout called Differentiate or Die. And what it basically says is that all marketing
Welcome to
is
our
differentiating
village.
yourself from your
Greetings,
competitors.
my lord. Our
It
warriors
is the
have
key
engaged
to
the
success
enemy.
in business. It means you have to set
There's no
yourself
time.
aside and apart in
How may I
a special
serve?
way
Our
from
allies'
everyone
town
else who
needs
competes
help.
with you in your business. We talk about this over and over again. It's called your competitive advantage. And the question is, what is your competitive advantage? What do you have in your business that makes your offerings superior
Our
to any
allies'
of your
town needs
competitors?
help.
What is your competitive advantage today? What will your competitive advantage be tomorrow, the way market trends are going? What should your competitive advantage be if you wanted to be the best in your business? What could your competitive advantage be if you were to upgrade the quality of your products or services? But the rule is if you don't have competitive advantage, you've got to develop one. If you can't develop one and be superior to your competitors, you should abandon the market
Our
and get
warriors
into
have
the area
engaged the enemy.
where you can be excellent. And this brings us to the second part of differentiation, is your area of excellence. You have to be excellent, superior to your competition in one or more ways, and you must be crystal clear what they are. Everybody in your company must know what they are, and you must constantly strive to maintain your lead in that area of excellence. That is the key to selling more and to selling more at higher prices. And the final part of differentiation is called your unique selling proposition. This is the one feature or benefit or distinctive characteristic that makes your product or service clearly superior to your competitors. It's something that only you have, that no other competitor can offer, and customers are willing to buy and pay for that unique selling proposition. The question is, what is yours? What is your unique selling proposition? Now, the third part of marketing is called segmentation. Segmentation means focusing marketing and selling efforts on a specific type of customer. What kind of customer? Well, you identify the exact type of customer who can most benefit from the superior features of your product or service in your area of specialization. This becomes what is called your target market. These are the prospects that you focus all of your attention on. Identify the precise location of your ideal customers. Where are they? Geographically, where are they in businesses? Where are they economically? Where are they in their careers? Second of all, you identify the ideal method of sale to those customers. Sometimes you find that your ideal customers prefer to buy by the internet, prefer to buy by direct sales, prefer to buy by coming to your establishment, prefer to buy by catalog. Figure out the very best way of selling to them, and then identify the ideal marketing channel. What is the way that you advertise, promote, get the message out to that market segment? All sales success today depends upon segmenting your market, your target market clearly, and then focusing your marketing efforts on convincing them that in your area of specialization, your area of differentiation is of greatest concern to them and is the real reason why they should buy from you now. Now, the fourth part of marketing is concentration. First of all, specialize, then differentiate, then segment, and then concentrate. Focus all your time, attention, and money on those customers, your ideal best customers. Remember the 80-20 rule. 20% of your prospects will turn into 80% of your sales. 20% of your customers will buy 80% of your products. 20% of your customers will count for 80% of your profits. 20% of your customers will account for 80% of your referrals, and so on. Your job is to keep thinking who are or who could be your top 20% of prospects and customers. Once you've determined who they are, concentrate your best people and resources on selling your most profitable products and services to your best customers. One of the key questions in marketing today is, who are my most profitable customers? And how could you organize and reorganize your activities so you're selling more and more of your best products and services to your best and most profitable customers? All advertising and promotion must be focused and concentrated on the customers that can make the greatest contribution to your business. You know, they say there's two types of customers. They're the ones that know you, like you, have bought from you in the past, and will buy from you again if you ask them. And then there are those who have never heard of you before. And what is it that most companies do? Is they advertise and promote to customers who have never heard of them before, rather than concentrating on the very best potential customers of today and tomorrow. Now, the ability of the entrepreneur, your ability to continually innovate and create better, faster, cheaper ways to service your customers is essential. Remember, continuous and never-ending improvement. Always looking for better ways. So, continually seek out or develop new products and services for your highest profit customers. Listen to their questions. Especially listen to your customers' complaints. You guys offer this, why don't you offer that? I wish somebody offered this. Very often, the very best ideas for new products and services will come from listening to your best customers. Continually seek to improve your existing products and services. Never become complacent. Always be looking for ways to make them better. Like cars try to make every model year superior to the previous model year. Every year, your products or services should be superior to what you offered last year. And finally, continually seek out better ways to market, sell, promote, and distribute. Never become complacent with your ways of doing it. Now, you need to continually identify customers who are not yet being served by you. Here's one of the greatest discoveries in marketing. Your non-customer is your biggest potential market. No matter how many people are using a product or service, the number of people who are not using it are usually greater than all of those put together. So, keep thinking, who are my non-customers and why aren't they buying from me? Ask yourself, what additional customers exist for your products and services today? Where are there additional customers who could really benefit from what you sell who are not currently using it? Ask, what additional products and services could you develop for your existing customers? Remember, innovation and entrepreneurship, finding new products and services, it must be a continual and ongoing part of your business. And finally, could you improve your existing products and services in some way? How could you make them better so that they will be more attractive to more of your current customers and more of your prospective customers? To wrap up, marketing is the process of continually seeking out new and better ways to create and keep customers. Profitability in your business is the result of finding and serving customers with more and more of what they want. Your ability to do this is the key to your success.
I am ready.
This is a very important lesson. Let's start off by saying the purpose of a business is to create a customer. All sales, revenues, profits, and growth are the result of creating enough customers in a cost-effective way. All marketing, advertising, and promotion of every kind is aimed at buying customers at a lower cost than the profits they generate when they buy from you. You are in the business of buying customers. Every bit of advertising and promotion you put out is an attempt to buy customers at a profit. Your goal is to acquire customers, to generate leads, and then convert those leads into customers who buy from you, buy again, and tell their friends. That's the central focus of your business. In its simplest terms, every business is in the business of customer acquisition. Your main goal, your central purpose, is to buy as many customers as you can, as fast as you can. Now, marketing and sales are different in a special way. Marketing includes the entire process of lead generation, starting from new product development and continuing through pricing, promotion, advertising, positioning, and packaging. The purpose of marketing ultimately is to make selling unnecessary. If your marketing efforts are good enough, customers will just walk in, dial up, or buy in some other way. Think of McDonald's, for example. People just walk in and buy. They don't have to be sold because all the marketing, the promotion has brought them in. But unfortunately, it seldom happens that people just walk in and buy. Ultimately, somebody has to sell them something. So selling is the process of converting sales leads or prospects into paying customers. You know, you may have a business where 1 out of 10 people who responds to your advertising buys. I worked with a large multinational corporation. For every 100 prospects, 4 of them actually bought. For 100 prospects who came into their business, only 4 bought. I showed them how to increase that from 4 to 5. And it added $100 million to their bottom line. It increased from 4 to 5, that's an increase of 25%. They were already a multi-billion-dollar company. By increasing from 4% to 5%, they increased their bottom line profits by $100 million. The company was selling for about 25 times earning in the stock market, which means that those additional profits translated into $2.5 billion in additional market value on the stock market for 1% increase in the 100 people that came in to look. So converting leads into customers is a really important business. Your job is to convert leads from the very first customer contact through to the satisfactory delivery of the product or service. This is why selling skills are essential to successful businesses. And it's absolutely amazing how many people start a business and they say, well, I'll just hire some salespeople. I'll just get some salespeople. I'll just hire somebody. I'll have her or him sell. No. The heartbeat of a business is the ability to sell once you've attracted the leads. We'll talk about how to attract leads in a minute, but we have companies, one of my companies, we have an 80% conversion rate. Is 80% of people who walk in buy. I work with other businesses where the conversion rate is 90%, and some places, not my business, where the conversion rate is 10%. Sometimes the conversion rate is even lower. The conversion rate is really important. So you have to focus intensely on lead generation, on attracting prospects who can and will buy within a reasonable period of time, and ideally, you want customers who will buy immediately. There are many ways to generate sales leads, to get people to pay attention and approach you for the first time. First of all, you can place ads in newspapers, magazines, or other publications. This is one of the most common ways of advertising. But when you do, here are the key things to remember. Your ad must be simple, clear, and easy to understand. One of the things I've learned over my business career is the value of imagining a 10-year-old child. And you must write your ad, or design your ad, so that a 10-year-old child can look at your ad and is so clear about what it is that you're selling and why they should respond, that they can tell and convince a second 10-year-old child to respond to your advertising. Your advertising should never be, well, it's supposed to mean, or what we're trying to say, or what we're trying to get across. No, they must be so clear a child can understand it. Please, very important. So, the second part of your ad, your headline, should offer the most important benefit that your customer wants to enjoy already by buying your product. 25% to 35% of every written ad should be the headline. And the headline should appeal to an existing need, pain, want, desire, hurt that the customer already has. For example, sometimes when you're driving through the countryside, you'll see a huge billboard and it'll have a big sign that'll say, hungry, question mark. You know, Martha's Restaurant, 2 miles ahead. Because what they're doing is they're trying to appeal to a major need that already exists. One of the most successful print ads in the world is by Preparation H. It's an ad that has a huge word that says, hemorrhoids, question mark. And then it says, if you have scratching and itching, or pain and itching, get Preparation H and take it away instantly. It made Preparation H the most successful hemorrhoid treatment in the history of the world because they knew that the primary headline was aimed right at their ideal customer, the person who most wanted their product and service now. A second thing about your ad, another thing is your ad must tell specifically what you offer. the specific results or benefits the customer will receive, and why your offer is superior to any other competitive product that's available. In other words, they have to have a reason to come to you rather than someone else. You don't want a sign that says hungry, the person says, geez, I'm hungry, and then a whole bunch of other restaurants that they can go to. There's got to be a reason. Martha's genuine home cooking, served piping hot. In other words, got to be a reason why people come to you. Finally, your ad must tell the customer exactly what action you want the reader to take immediately. In other words, you say, do this now, call now, come in, pick up the phone this minute, purchase it today. In other words, don't say, here's a wonderful product, it's really neat, and just leave it like that. When you look at ads, by the way, you'll find 50, 60, 70% of ads, many of them designed by very expensive agencies, just lay there on the table. They give no reason to buy. They're just kind of statements like, we sell nice cars. And that's basically all it is. But your ad has to pop. Your ad has to punch. And here's the only way that you can tell if your ad works. It causes immediate response. An advertisement that is good causes people to telephone or to dial up on the internet or to walk in the door immediately. If that is not happening, it means the ad is no good. The second way that you can attract leads, you can advertise on the radio. When you advertise on the radio, first you must capture the attention of the prospect immediately with a strong statement or question. Going out for dinner tonight? Come to Harry's restaurant, bring your spouse, and we'll give you a free bottle of wine. The most delicious food on the coast. You see that? Going out for dinner, you immediately appeal to people who are going out for dinner, who want a bottle of wine, going with their spouse, and delicious food. Something like that. It doesn't have to be artful. It just has to have a strong statement or question that connects instantly with a person driving along whose mind is on 1,000 different things. You must make it clear what your product or service will achieve, avoid, or preserve for the customer. You could have a testimonial. I just ate at Charlie's and it was the most beautiful dinner I've had in years. In other words, that's what you get if you come to Charlie's. We've now covered in a 30-second ad the first 15 seconds. That's why, by the way, many advertisers are now using 15-second ads, because they find it doesn't really take that long to get across the critical message if you focus on the critical message. You must tell the customer exactly what action you want him to take immediately. In a radio ad, give your telephone number or address twice and end with a call for action. Our address is 1525 Main Street and our phone number is 235-236-2487. That's 235-236-2587. Call now to reserve. In other words, always end with a call now. Come in now. Do this now. Don't ever let an ad just kind of die away. In every case, make it easy for your customer to buy. Make it easy for them to understand why they should buy. Many advertisers think tricky advertising works. No, straightforward, simple, honest advertising that gives people a reason to buy is what causes your phone to ring. You can advertise and generate leads by using direct mail. When you do, you must choose your mailing list carefully by clearly identifying the type of customer who will buy immediately. Ask yourself, who is my customer? Who are the people that buy today? Who have bought in the past?